So, giving a blowjob releases oxytocin, serotonin, and activates your brain's reward circuitry. Here's everything nobody told you. Okay, so here's three reasons to stay with me through this episode. And I am so glad you're here with me today. Woohoo! Okay, so three reasons. A map, if you will. First, I'm going to name exactly what is happening in your nervous system when you are in your head during oral sex, because performance anxiety has a specific neurological signature, and understanding it, girl, it changes everything. Second, I'm going to give you a concrete regulation first protocol for getting out of your head, back into your body before and during the experience. And third, I got you. I'm giving, I'm going to give you actual technique, specific, frank, useful guidance on how to give a blowjob with confidence, pleasure, and presence. We are doing all three because you deserve to feel good about this, comfortable about this, embrace this part of your life that is so vibrant and wonderful. And you know what? That partner that you love, they deserve it too. So let me describe a scene. You and your partner are in bed. Things are moving in a direction. There is a moment, a pause, a shift in energy, a hand at the back of your neck, and you know where this is going. And instead of dropping into your body and following your instincts, your brain lights up like a switchboard. Am I doing this right? Does he wish I were better at this? How long is this supposed to take? Is my jaw going to give out? Should I be doing something else with my hands? What if he can tell I really don't know what I'm doing? I mean, our brain just races in all kinds of directions. And just like that, you've left your body entirely. You are now a performance reviewer sitting in the cheap seats of your own intimate life, grading a show that has not even started. This is not a confidence problem. This is not a skill problem, though we will get to skill. Girl, this is a nervous system problem. Specifically, it is a sympathetic activation response, the same fight or flight state that fires when your body perceives threat. And your nervous system, bless its heart, it does not distinguish between a predator in the tall grass and the fear of being sexually inadequate in front of someone whose opinion matters to you. The research on this is unambiguous. James Gross at Stanford, whose work on emotional regulation has been some of the most replicated in the field, documents that cognitive appraisal, the stories we tell ourselves about situations, can activate the same physiological stress response as direct physical threat. I know we've all lived it. We can think of examples. See, when you enter an intimate situation carrying the narrative that I'm bad at this, or I don't look right, or if only my butt was a different size, or my boobs are sagging, all the crap we bring with us, or I don't know what I'm doing, or he's going to be disappointed. Your sympathetic nervous system responds to that narrative as if it is true, as if the threat is real, and it begins preparing your body for emergency rather than pleasure. So here's what it looks like in practice. Your breathing becomes shallow and high in your chest, your jaws tighten, your attention narrows to threat scanning rather than sensation seeking. Your hands lose their intuitive confidence. You become hypervigilant to your partner's responses, reading every micro expression for evidence that you're failing, and assume because your attention is now fully consumed by threat monitoring, you have no remaining capacity for presence. You cannot feel pleasure. You cannot be curious. You cannot be playful. You are in survival mode. And survival mode does not know how to give a blowjob. The solution is not to think your way out of the anxiety. Telling yourself to relax does not regulate a sympathetic nervous system. In fact, it probably does the opposite. Because it's just going to add a layer of frustration when relaxing does not happen on command. The solution is to work with the body directly, to interrupt the stress response at the physiological level, to give your nervous system evidence, not reassurance, evidence that you, my friend, are safe. So, before we get to the regulation protocol, I want to give you something the cultural conversation probably has never given you. And I know I'm bold in going here, but girl, who's going to do? This is an important topic. I've done way too much marriage counseling. I've been in a healthy, thriving marriage for 35 years. We need to explore all parts of ourselves. Grab my book, Are We Going to Have Sex or What? I really go deep into how nervous system regulation really impacts so many parts of our life, to include intimacy and connection. And we long for intimacy and connection. So I want to talk about the things no one's willing to talk about. So thank you for being here to listen. But okay, before we get into the regulation protocol, I want to give you something the cultural conversation, again, has never given you. A reason to want to do this that has nothing to do with obligation or performance or keeping your partner happy. So let's meet Gordon Gallup Jr. He's at SUNY Albany, and he's published research in the archives of sexual behavior documenting that semen contains measurable concentrations, get this, of oxytocin, serotonin, melatonin, and several mood active neuropeptides. And that direct exposure produces it demonstrates mood elevating effects. Your body absorbs these compounds. Oxytocin, that's the bonding hormone, the one that creates felt safety and attachment. It enters your body not as a byproduct, but as a direct neurochemical event. Get that. And the act itself, independent of any exposure, triggers its own oxytocin release. So the physical closeness, the skin contact, the specific intimacy of this particular act. James Cone's research on co-regulation shows that proximity to a trusted partner is one of the most powerful regulators of the nervous system available to us. Get that, available to us. Sans all the prescriptions, I guess it's a prescription of sort to go get close and naked with the one you love. It's a lot cheaper than going out and buying some medication. But what I'm trying to say is you are not just pleasuring your partner. You are co-regulating your own nervous system through proximity and touch. Then there's what Jack Panksepp called the seeking system. This is the brain's intrinsic reward circuitry that activates when we are in a state of motivated engagement, of wanting and pursuing and giving. This research went on for decades, and it shows, it's on effective neuroscience research. And it established that the seeking system is one of the primary sources of positive affect in the mammalian brain. It fires when you're curious, engaged, and actively giving pleasure. it fires for you. The giving itself is neurochemically rewarding. This is the reframe your nervous system has been waiting for. Girl, you're not performing service. You are engaging in an act of genuine intimacy that releases bonding hormones in your body, co-regulates your nervous system through proximity, and activates your brain's own reward circuitry. I mean, that is a good thing. So the question stops being, how do I get through this? And becomes something far more interesting. How do I actually enjoy this? And I tell you, he knows. I've talked with my husband about this. He genuinely knows that pleasure is being experienced. And he said it brings such a sense of pride and pleasure in him that we can share this. See, that shift from endurance to curiosity is a nervous system shift, and it changes everything about your body and what your body is also capable of in that moment. So I want to give you a before, during, and anchor practice. These are 3 distinct tools for 3 distinct moments. So the first is the before practice, and it takes about 60 seconds before you're in the room, before clothes are off, before any of it. Do this. Find a wall or a countertop and place both palms flat against the surface. Push hard, not hard enough to move it, but with enough pressure that your arms engage your core subtly and your core activates. You feel something solid pushing back and you hold for 10 seconds. Release and repeat 3 times. What you're doing is proprioceptive grounding. And research on body-based regulation from the work of James Cone, whose social baseline theory examines how the body computes safety, shows that physical contact with a stable surface activates a felt sense of ground and resource that the sympathetic system interprets as safety signal. You are not talking yourself down. You're giving yourself yourself and your nervous system a physical argument that the environment is stable and that you are capable within it. Your hands know how to do things. This is the body remembering that before the performance, anxiety can talk it out of doing something. So you want your body to remember so that that anxiety, that performance anxiety, isn't talking you out of it. That's what I'm trying to say there. The second is the during practice, and it is a single breath instruction. Breathe into your belly, not your chest. Slow, low, deliberate. When the sympathetic system activates, breathing rises into the thoracic, short, fast, high. This is both a symptom and a perpetrator of the anxiety loop. Research by Sarah Garfinkel on interoception and anxiety confirms that slow diaphragmatic breathing, going low, feeling your down below your ribs, is one of the most reliable and rapid down regulators of sympathetic activation that is available to us. One breath cycle, low and slow, every time you notice the anxiety spiking. You do not need to stop what you're doing. One breath, your body will receive it. And really, y'all, I invite you to talk to your partner about this. Do these grounding things together. This is not something being done to somebody. This is an act you're doing together. I mean, it's almost like foreplay. Let's get into this and let's talk about this. Let's have adult conversations about our sex life and intimacy. The third is an anchor, and the anchor is sensation seeking rather than performance monitoring. So anytime you notice you have moved into your head and out of your body, redirect your attention to one specific physical sensation. The temperature of skin under your hands, the texture, the sound of breathing changing, the sensation of the kiss. Sensation is the antidote to narration, okay? You cannot be in performance review and in your body simultaneously. Choose sensation deliberately. Train your attention back to the physical. And it's not a trick, it is the actual neurological mechanism by which arousal and presence are maintained. I don't remember them talking to us about this stuff in sex ed. I just don't. It was so dry and so 1, 2, 3. This is the richness of lived life that we need to share with each other, ladies. This is important. It's important for you. It's important for your relationship. It's important for your partner. So, as always, we're going to look at this through the chakra framework. So, our sacral chakra, which we know governs our pleasure and creativity and flow and the capacity for surrender into experience. Honey, we have got to be able to do that. We have got to be able to do that in the bedroom. This surrender lives just below, well, the surrender lives in our sacral chakra, and this chakra lives just below our navel. And it's the energetic center most directly implicated in sexual expression and embodied enjoyment. So this chakra thrives on permission, on the felt sense that pleasure is allowed, that desire is not shameful, and that the body's wisdom can be trusted. When a woman is carrying anxiety around sexual competence, the sacral chakra contracts. The creative, intuitive, fluid energy that sexual experience draws from goes offline. And what she is left with is the mechanical, the thinking, the monitoring, the managing. The act becomes a performance of intimacy rather than an experience of it. The work of the sacral chakra in this context, it's not about technique. It is about permission. Permission to not know exactly what you're doing and do it anyway. Permission to be imperfect and present rather than technically proficient and absent. Permission to enjoy it, which is honestly the single greatest skill a woman can bring to this particular experience. When you are present, when the nervous system is regulated, the sacral chakra is open. Your intuition becomes available. You begin reading your partner's responses without monitoring them. You're with it. Oh, it's so exciting. It's a magnificent experience when you're in it. You become curious, not anxious. Curiosity is that sacral frequency. Anxiety is a threat state frequency. They cannot occupy the body simultaneously. So, all right, you're regulated, you're present, you have permission. So, now let's talk about what you're actually doing. The first and most important thing to understand is that oral sex is not a performance for an audience, it is a conversation between two bodies. Your job is not to execute a flawless technical sequence. Your job is to be curious, responsive, and willing to follow what gets a response. That said, curiosity is more productive when it has somewhere to start. So here's a framework. So you begin slow and broad before you go anywhere near the tip, which is where the anxiety usually rushes because it seems like the main event. So spend time with the shaft, the base, the inner thighs, the lower abdomen. This serves two purposes. It builds arousal in your partner by expanding sensation beyond the most obvious target. And it gives your own nervous system time to settle into the experience. You're not stalling, you're building. Use your hands as an extension of your mouth, not as a separate activity. The combination of mouth and hands working in the same rhythm is significantly more effective than either alone and also reduces jaw fatigue, which is a real and valid concern that nobody talks about plainly. Your non dominant hand at the base, moving in rhythm with your mouth, extends your range without extending your effort. You want to pay attention to the frenulum. I said that wrong, but it's on a circumcised penis. This is the small V-shaped area on the underside, just below the tip. On a Well, that's a circumcised penis. On an uncircumcised penis, the foreskin covers it, but it remains one of the most nerve dense concentrations on the body. So gentle focused attention here, tongue, lips, sustained soft pressure tends to produce responses that are unmistakable. You will know, follow the response. Now, please talk to your partner. It's fine. And y'all need to have this conversation before it begins at the kitchen table with clothes on. I'm going to try this. I'm a little nervous about this. I need direction. And really, if I ask you, how's this going, give me honest feedback. And it's in part, it's good for your partner to be moaning and moving his body so that you know what things are feeling good. But that's conversations to have before you try, before you go in there and play. And it's playtime. This is not something that's being graded. This is playtime. But as you're doing this, you vary your pressure and rhythm deliberately. That's fun. What most people don't understand is that consistency, which sounds like a virtue, is actually the enemy of arousal escalation. The nervous system habituates to consistent, stimulation. It stops registering it as new input. So variation keeps the nervous system engaged and escalating. Build, vary, play. Go, let me try this. Build and play, build and vary. The rhythm of tease and return is not about withholding. It is about the body never quite catching up to the sensation, which is where the intensity lives. Breathe through it. This is both technique and regulation. Breathing slows you down enough to stay present. It also physically relaxes the jaw and the throat, which reduces fatigue and increases your own comfort and confidence. And finally, make sound. Communicate a low sound, a breath, a word of encouragement. This is not performance, it's feedback. It closes the loop between you and your partner's experience. It makes the experience mutual rather than one directional, which is where the self-consciousness lives. When you are in the giving feedback and receiving it mode, you are in a conversation. And conversations, girl, are not performances. They are an experience you're having together. Conversations are just two people who love each other being real with each other. So I have a quick practice for you. It's called the permission breath. It is brief, it is specific, and it is designed to be used in the moment, not as preparation, but as a reset you can access anytime the anxiety spikes. Wherever you are in the experience, place one hand on your low belly, that's your sacral chakra, and take one breath, slow, deliberate, into the space beneath your hands. And as you exhale, mentally release one word. Allow. Not perform, not improve, not succeed, allow. This is a sacral activation practice, and you're directing breath and attention to the energetic center of pleasure and permission. You are interrupting the sympathetic loop with a direct physical signal that says, this is allowed. I am allowed to be here. I do not need to be perfect to be present. There's no shame in this game. Do this once, then return your full attention to sensation. And after the experience, the next day, when you have some quiet time, write for 5 minutes on this prompt. What was I curious about? Not what went well, not what you would do differently. What were you curious about? What did you notice? What surprised you? What did you want to explore? Curiosity is the nervous system's signal of safety. When we are in threat, we do not become curious. We become vigilant. Recalling and naming curiosity retroactively trains the nervous system to associate this context with exploration rather than threat. You're building a new neural pathway, one experience at a time. How fun. Okay, we're going to land the plane. So, what you learned today: one, being in your head during oral sex is a sympathetic nervous system activation. Now, we could have the same conversation about you receiving oral sex, but that's another podcast, another time. And I've got it in my book too. But being in your head is going to, it takes you out of where you need to be because you're activated. This is not a personal failing at all, and not a skill deficit. Your body perceived threat and responded accordingly. That response is reversible. 2, giving a blowjob is neurochemically beneficial for you. Oxytocin, serotonin, the seeking system reward circuitry, co-regulation through proximity. Your body receives a measurable return on this investment. You're not doing him a favor. You're doing your nervous system a big favor. And 3, you can't think your way out of a stress response. We have tried, right? Can I get a high five on that? We have tried. Does not work. You regulate through the body, through proprioceptive grounding, through diaphragmic breathing, and deliberate redirection of attention to sensation. And 4, in the chakra system, the sacral center governs pleasure, flow, and permission. Anxiety contracts that sacral chakra. Presence opens it. And presence begins with one slow breath and a decision to allow rather than perform. And 5, technique matters. Knowing something concrete gives the anxious mind less to spiral around. So begin slow and broad. Use your hands in concert with your mouth. Pay attention to the underside of the penis where the little triangle is. A lot of feeling right there. And talk to your man. Do a penis map. See where he has the most feeling, because no two penises are just alike. So talk to him. You begin slow. You vary your rhythm deliberately. Breathe and close the feedback loop. And 6, curiosity is the antidote to performance anxiety. You can't be anxious and curious simultaneously. Choose curiosity. God, it's such a better energy. Return to it every time anxiety pulls you out. And as I said, grab my book if you want to go deeper. So you are not bad at this. Absolutely not. You have been braced. And this is that's a really different energy to bring into this. So remember, you weren't bad at it. You were braced. And there's a big difference. And now you know what to do with that. So I will see you on Friday, and you have a fabulous rest of your week.